This is the iPhone 12 Pro Max. This is the iPhone 6S, but this is not the topic of this video. Let's get into the news. First off, Samsung is in the news and they are about to introduce the new Galaxy S21. I made a video talking about the design. But one thing that is interesting is, I think, according to rumors, they are going to introduce the feature of being able to use the S Pen. So now, Samsung previously have focused all its attention on the device that uses the pen, which is the Galaxy Note series. So it seems a bit strange that they're promoting, or they will be promoting, the S Pen for the Samsung Galaxy S21. So naturally, people said, is the Note going to die? Multiple reports are saying, okay, it is going to die, it's going to be killed off, and there's going to be one major flagship release, just like the iPhones once a year. People are saying, no, it's not going to die. And one personal piece of speculation of mine is, I think they will transition the Note name to the Fold name. So the Galaxy Fold will become the Galaxy Note. Why I think that is, they first announced the Galaxy Fold, and then the second generation Galaxy Fold was named Galaxy Z Fold 2, which is a weird name. So I was a bit, why is there a Z? So I thought Fold, Note, makes sense. Maybe they transition that into making it more mainstream. The Note has that big name that, appeal. If you hear Note and no, the Note now folds, and, it seems like a very, very, very easy transition. And I think maybe that would happen. So that's Samsung news done. One thing that is also in the news is Google. Sometime earlier this week, they have experienced an outage of the features. YouTube was one of them, Gmail was one of them, and that lasted for approximately 1 hour. And in that hour, according to an article, they lost $2.3 million. And that got me thinking of the major dependency we have, both financially and in terms of usage. I was sitting down on the couch trying to watch YouTube, and I was like, oh, wow, now I have nothing to do with my life. Or I checked the emails, and my emails weren't working. And, panic stations, even though it lasted for an hour, it showed how much dependency we have on these companies and the services they provide. And it was a little bit scary, not gonna lie. Imagine a life without Google and its services. When you think about it, everything is Google, the search engine, the maps, the backbone of everything. The YouTubes, the Gmails, the everything. And it seems like there's so much power with these companies. That gets me to the other piece of news, which is Microsoft. Microsoft have decided to follow their own footsteps, or Apple's footsteps, however you want to look at it. And they are planning to design their own chipset. So Apple has been for a long time developing their chips for their phones, the Apple A series. And then they recently in 2020 announced that they are developing their own chips for their laptops. And now Microsoft are doing the same. And I think this is both good news and bad news. It is good news because now we have competition for companies like ARM, NVIDIA, and Intel to make chips that are not only more affordable, but also more enticing in terms of features. So now they would really have a reason to make you buy an Intel-based or an NVIDIA-based or an ARM-based computer, because why would you if it's not worth the price when Microsoft and Apple are making something else? And the bad news is it comes with a dependency that we talked about with the YouTube thing. It's if Microsoft start making their own everything, they will start flexing features and controlling features, and they would kind of be leaning towards an Apple environment kind of thing. Just like Apple has their environment that controls everything, their devices work seamlessly with one another, and then the cross-platform thing stops making sense. So you want to use first-party everything. Maybe they stop supporting Office, for example, for other platforms or something crazy like that. And then you suddenly see how much power this company has. And because with great power comes great responsibility. Spider-Man, that's a quote from Spider-Man. And Spider-Man has a very famous game that launched with the PlayStation 5. And another game that launched with the PlayStation 5's release is Cyberpunk 2077. But not anymore. That's the final piece of news. Cyberpunk 2077 was removed from the PlayStation Store. So you can no longer buy a brand new digital edition Cyberpunk 2077. Cyberpunk 2077, if anyone doesn't know, it's probably the most hyped game of the 2010s, of the past decade. It's been in development for, I think, at least 8 years, and they will continue developing it as it's released. But the thing that is strange that they've done is they sent a PC version to the reviewers that got the game early, and based on that, everyone said, this game is insane, the storytelling is insane, and everything about it is a must buy. So let's say, example, IGN would give it 9 out of 10. So me as a casual gamer, I would think, yes, I need to buy that game. And if people actually bought the game on PlayStation 4, and when they played it, it was crap. Everything was subpar and everything low-key sucked. So because this game was so famous and there was a massive hype around it, it was quite different in terms of backlash, in terms of how people responded to receiving a bad game after this long period of wait and hype. Everyone complained, and the complaints were heard, and they got my attention. I started looking at videos of comparing between the PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, and the PC, and goodness, the PlayStation 4 version is unplayable, and you kind of feel like this is an exception, and indeed it was. PlayStation took down the Cyberpunk game from the store. They first issued refunds, and when the refunds became too many to count, they just removed the game altogether. And this sets a very weird precedent, because previously, if you buy a game and you play the game is yours. You can no longer return it. The only reason you have to return a game is when it's broken. If you buy a physical game, let's say you buy a football and then you try to pump it with air and then it doesn't work, so you just return it. And this is the digital equivalent, the 21st century equivalent of that, where you buy a broken game and then you return it. And then because it didn't happen before in this very big scale, it might set a precedent for us to be able to criticize the game. But one question I have is, where is the limit of how bad a game is for you to be able to return it? It's a very mixed bag of news this week, and I'm still experimenting with my setup, with the lighting, so probably every video looks different, but I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you learned something new, and I guess I'll see you next week. Have a wonderful day.